Welcome back.
Hello.
Episode 2, like 7-year bitch. Who would have thought we would have made it this far?
Shout out to Christopher Webb.
Yes.
First fan.
It's really your fan mail that keeps us going.
Right.
This sponsor's episode is my dad, Rayman. Thank you for the space.
Thank you, Rayman.
The Wi-Fi. The mental illness required to do something like this.
The hereditary.
The hereditary. Hereditary by A24. Okay. Okay.
We gave a little teaser on our Instagram.
Oh yeah.
What this week's topic is gonna be. None of you guessed. That's fine.
Yeah. So we DM'd you and told you.
We're not hurt by the lack of engagement,
but you know it wouldn't hurt.
By the way, we got shadow banned from Instagram. We are not allowed to advertise our.
Yeah, we're too spicy for the Christian channel. We're very neolib this week. We're discussing representation in media.
We have a lot of thoughts and criticisms.
As we do about everything.
Yeah, but especially Asian people because we're allowed to.
Because we are, surprise, Asian people. Oh, but like, okay, we're going to talk about Asians for like the next hour or whatever.
If you hate Asians,
if you hate Asians, stay tuned.
But if you hate Henry Golding, then this might be for you.
Oh, if you hate Henry Golding, like, please call in. We can dedicate a whole episode.
We need to start a whole campaign.
Against.
Yeah, we need to get him out of Hollywood and back in Malaysia.
Hashtag start Golding hate. Let's just lube ourselves up with some the least Asian thing that's happening. How do you feel about the whole Zoe Kravitz, Channing Tatum situation?
I never found him hot.
Yeah, but I saw the pictures and at first I thought it was like, oh...
I of his like weird like white throw and like shaved buzz head.
Did he always have the buzz cut?
No, because he was a
Magic Mike. I feel like that's what we should call the gold like Uncle Karaoke microphones. Magic Mike. No, at first I thought it was like behind the scenes of a like new project because I was like Zoe Kravitz and Channing Tatum. Like that was my first thought, and then my next thought was immediately how for years I've never been able to get past his name. What kind of fucking name is
white people?
And then at first I thought it was like Channing.
Is it his like name or is it like his
no?
name?
It's his like it's his first name is Channing. It's not even his middle name. And at first I was like, it's like Channing
to Tom.
And then like no, it's just Channing. Like why is your name in the form of a verb? White people just have the like wildest names. They will name their child Hunter or Thatcher.
I don't know how to pronounce it. So Imogen Poots, who is a real actress, and that's like a real ass name. So
you can't put images of Poot Lovato in my head this early into the episode.
It's plural.
Yeah, like if we are naming our sons Hunter, we must name our daughters Gather.
Gather Biden.
Yeah. But yeah,
like this is a poor Hunter Biden podcast.
Yeah, no, and it got me to thinking about like, okay, if we were to use Channing as a verb,
yeah,
like what would it describe? And I was like, Jackie Channing.
Oh.
It's when you disown your like
lesbian bastard daughter.
No, you disown your like publicly known drug abuser son.
It's not even drug abuser.
I mean like weed smoke, like stoner son, and then like refuse to acknowledge your bastard daughter that you had out of wedlock.
Yeah, and
while also like being an active supporter of the CCP. That is,
he's Singaporean.
Oh, they all do. Like Jet Li does as well.
His daughter goes to the American school.
That place is scary.
As they do.
That place is terrifying.
So, some recent discourse, if you have been on Twitter, I don't know if this made it to Instagram, was the noodle dumpling discourse.
Yeah, no, you were telling me vaguely about it, but
yeah, I don't know how much you know about it, Albert.
I know nothing.
So basically, apologies for this write-up that's on the docs that we're looking at. It's from a right-wing website. But it was the only news outlet that was reporting on it.
Is it RT.com?
I think so. Yeah, so basically this like stupid like online media person, a freelance journalist. Like the only thing they know how to do is tweet. So she basically tweeted a screenshot of a noodle and dumpling recipe book. And it's written by a white person. So she posted a picture of that and the white person next to each other. And the caption was, "Why did a white woman write a cookbook about dumplings and noodles?" And then so everyone was like, "Oh my god, appropriation." All her like media friends were like, "Yes, queen, all that. White bitch out." And obviously people are like, are you like insane? Maybe because she likes dumplings and noodles. And
no, and Asians don't have a monopoly on dumplings.
Yeah, like, have you not heard of
a pierogi, a momo?
Fucking spaghetti is noodle.
Like, go to Dumpling Darlings at Circular Road, please, and educate yourself.
Also, do you want to sponsor us? So she's a Filipinx. Filipinx Canadian who has written for, once I say these media names, you'll get everything. Vice, Refinery 29,
Gag,
and the AV Club.
Shoot me.
So yeah, basically she got a ton of people supporting her, but most of the normal ass non-media people were like, this is strange. Like, you have like a large internet following.
No, that's so stupid. No, this is like when the that girl wore a cheongsam to her prom, and that dude was like, my culture is not your costume.
Yes. But also, like, I think the white woman who wrote the book was also called like Pippa, so maybe the hate was kind of justified.
Yeah, no, never met a bitch I liked who was named Pippa.
For you?
Yeah, no, fuck her.
Anyway, so
all Pippas are racist.
So yeah, she got a ton of backlash from normal people, and then she started like going like, oh my god, all these Nazis in my comments attacking me.
Yeah, okay, I saw this tweet.
And then she's like, anyway, therapy cost me $100 per session, and I'm gonna need it after almost 48 hours of harassment from Nazis. And then she puts a link to her PayPal.
Wait, what country is she from?
Canadian.
The grand land of Canada. Okay. So that's pretty much the same as $130 a session in Singapore. I mean, I can hook you up with my counselor. I mean, okay, like, yes, she counsels at the Bible school, and
but we all need this.
I mean, yes, she counsels at the Bible school, but she does try to take a secular approach. And like when I talk about my sex life or like my alcoholic escapades, you can really see her she's not good at hiding her like disdain, but she like tries, and I appreciate that. Shout out Cecilia. Yeah, shout out Cecilia. She's only $100 an hour, and then she also does sand trade.
Oh,
yeah, it's where you it's a box of sand, and then there are little figurines. I made the cardinal mistake of calling them dolls.
Tell them where they touched you.
I made the cardinal mistake of calling them dolls, and she was like, excuse me, they're figurines. It's like when you call a man's like action figures toys.
When you call a graphic novel a comic book.
Oh god.
Yeah, so I mean that's basically the whole drama. She's still tweeting about like the reparations and like the trauma she has from the whole thing. I think Pippa, I don't know if her name's actually Pippa, it's like Pippi or something like that.
Pippi.
But she actually responded, and her response was like very measured and like
rational.
Yeah, rational. And it's like, yeah, I understand it's not my culture, but I did like dedicate like half my life to like actually going to China and respect her and do all this shit. And then Rosalind's like, she's sending a hate mob against me. That is such a hateful, vile thing, you could say.
Why people are like that, yeah? I think it's just like Asians in the West in general. The diaspora. Oh, where would I be without my fellow diaspora men? And I guess that's
a view about diaspora poetry about your mom and like the taste of mangoes that reminds you of like exploitation back in communist Vietnam. They'll be like, yeah, my parents lost everything they had during like revolution. Yeah, I'm like, your parents were landlords?
Yeah, and then
and they were like, yes, and they had a monopoly on eggs. Do you remember? You remember that tweet? No. It's this like Chinese American woman who's talking about how like her great grandparents lost everything during the Chinese Revolution, and she was describing her like grandfather. Oh my god,
grandpa. Let's go with grandpa.
Grandfather. As like a businessman who had a monopoly on eggs in China. So for like days onwards, people were like talking about egg monopoly woman.
No, but they just
stay embarrassing themselves on social media.
No, I think it's so funny because like you have these immigrant parents who, slave under these systems, and then you're like, I'm gonna go to liberal arts college.
I'm going to learn how to draw. And then I will not support you as you die of old age.
I don't, yeah, filial piety is a social construct.
But I will put my Chinese name in my Instagram bio.
And I will, like, once a year, I will post myself in like a Oriental adjacent outfit
for an Oriental holiday that you probably do like hated celebrate.
I'll put like what? What's the Cant like Kong Hiat Fat Choi in my bio? Kong Hei Fat Choi. I don't know. I only knew that there was a different Cantonese greeting altogether once because Jesse McCartney tweeted it.
Jesse McCartney?
Yeah, it was like Chinese New Year and I like Jesse McCartney tweeted like Kong Hei Fat Choi and I was like,
okay, first of all, why is he doing it in Cantonese?
Don't even get
is he trying to pull a Bart Baker and enter the like DCE?
No, the white monkey industry. Okay. I think we've made enough like
discourse.
Mm-hmm. We've like successfully lubed our way into talking about Asian stuff. So today we're talking about
Asian Americans in media,
or basically Asian representation in Western media, and why it leaves much to be desired.
And honestly, should we be desiring it?
Like, what do we even want? Do we know? Let's find out.
I love how Asians turn to Western media for representation. That just like makes sense, right?
Just go watch a fucking Chinese movie. Damn.
Watch Kung Fu Hustle.
Just go watch.
You'll be very represented. And it's a very good movie.
Like, shut up and watch I Not Stupid lah. Like, please. You want to go and pay $13 to watch Minari so you can cry like,
it's a Minari.
Why don't like just download Minari? Just download 15 from some random dude's Google Drive.
Just watch Stephen Yan YouTube videos.
Yeah, I think the overall idea that's been flying around now is like, oh wow, the Asians are really taking over Hollywood. Like they're, finally, they're making a name for themselves.
It's time for the Asians to shine.
Yeah, but are they really?
And it's only East Asians so far. So.
Yeah, I mean, okay, if you look at a brief history of Asian representation in Hollywood, we all know.
No means accurate.
Yeah, we all know it's not good. I mean, okay, you have like the 50s and 60s where it was straight up yellow face.
Mr.
Like
Miyagi.
You have like Mickey Rooney and Marlon Brando. Yeah, straight up yellow face.
What the fuck is Tea House of the August Moon?
Oh, it's like a movie from like the 50s where he fully plays like a Japanese man.
I only know Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now when he got fat.
Oh, Marlon. I only know Marlon Brando from when he like rejected his Oscar.
And then he gave it to like a native woman.
Yeah, and
right?
and all of the people in the crowd looked so bored. No, and I guess in the 50s and 60s, you still had this like alien view. Like Western people had this very alien view of Asian people.
I guess it's the whole like
Japanese internment camps.
Red Scare and all that.
Yeah. And then you transition to, the 80s, 90s, like fucking Long Duck Dong and 16 Candles, where they are barely human. They're really just kind of these, I think it's peak like caricature, minstrel. And then, I guess as you enter the more modern era, you have this whole model, like, and then back to the 80s, you have one of my favorite examples when I watched the 1982 version of Annie.
The Hard Knock Life.
For us. And so I was like she goes into Daddy Warbucks' house and the god is called Punjab. And so me as a kid, I'm like, oh, that sounds a lot like Punjab, but I'm sure this is different. Man rocks up in a turban and he's fully like a Caribbean man.
This is what Edward Said Orientalism is about.
I'm so confused. I'm like, wait, so he is like Punjab? His name is Punjab. And in the movie version, he saves her by unraveling his turban and like lowering it down to her so that she can climb up onto the helicopter. And I'm like...
I don't know if you've watched this, but The Little Princess, based on the book.
No.
It's basically, she gets saved by like a magical servant, a Punjab Indian servant of this white man who has a monkey that somehow helps her in like her hijinks.
And then, of course, you have fucking Apu from The Simpsons.
Yeah. There was a whole campaign a while back, right? That's like, I'm not Apu or some shit like that.
Yeah, it didn't last very long. And then, in the more modern era, you have shit like Raj or Ramesh, whatever, Kuthra. Like, his name is something Kuthrapali in like The Big Bang Theory. You have your doctor, lawyer, Asian depictions. Fucking Ken Jeong. Yeah.
that is a whole different beast to tackle.
And I guess that's what we were used to up until about maybe, I guess, 5 years ago, up until present. Like, Crazy Rich Asians happened, which was supposed to be like a big thing. Fresh off the boat. Fresh off the boat.
I think it started.
Yeah, Fresh Off the Boat was supposed to be this big landmark moment in Asian representation. We'll get more into that later. And then I think the next big thing was Crazy Rich Asians and everything that it's fucking spawned.
And now it's all the Marvel movies with Asian people in it. We've lost so many fellow Asian brothers.
And I guess the most recent one is just the extreme success of fucking Parasite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and people are like, we have fucking solved racism.
It's like Chrissy Teigen watching Parasite going like, oh my god, such a good movie. Okay.
No, while
her mom's like throwing away AirPods.
No, and while she's like, yes, my dog took a shit on the carpet. Yes, I left it all night for the maid to come clean it in the morning. And what about it?
I mean, it's like people die, but it's like inevitable.
Shout out Vanessa Hudgens, another example of Asian representation.
No, like I remember like reading like her entire ethnicity mix as like a kid, and I'm like, wow, I feel so...
Do you still remember?
It's like Filipino, Chinese,
no, Irish, yeah. Filipino, Japanese, yeah.
She has like the entire continent of Asia and Europe in her.
And so it also really got us thinking and talking about, what does good representation look like? What does bad representation look like?
Why do we give a shit about representation?
What is representation? And, we came up with a few of the most recognizable Asian names in Hollywood right now. And we've decided to kind of rate them or rank them according to, on a spectrum from...
On a very arbitrary spectrum.
This is really just our thoughts, and there's really no reason I can give you to put any weight to anything we say. So,
feel free to fact check, but just take all of it as word.
Yeah, no. This is absolute truth. Anyway,
I guess you can start with
so we're like so we're rating on a scale from like acceptable, like okay, this is great, love ya, no problems, to fucking minstrel. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do you want to start with Awkwafina, because that's the first one that comes up.
Because also there was this discourse again gets like sparked again every like few months about her black accent.
Mm-hmm. I will say this, I like Nora Lum. I don't like Awkwafina.
I liked her like when she was like making My Veg on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. I mean, again, it was very of its time. Even the fucking name Awkwafina.
The glasses she wore that were like brand.
It was very of its era. But I think it's time for her to make, and I think she is kind of veering towards that.
I think once she started taking the more serious roles, like in is it The Promise? The
Farewell.
The Farewell.
The Promise. That's like some Nicholas Sparks shit.
Yeah, I didn't really like that, by the way, because it actually happened to me. I'm serious. Like, my grandmother died, and my grandfather was in an old folks home, and we just didn't tell him. We told him that my grandmother got an injury and she couldn't walk, so it was really hard for her to visit him, and then he like died a few months later.
Wow.
And I had to like keep up that lie.
I had someone close to me recently, I won't say who it is, have someone in their family, like an old person in their family, had a stroke. And they don't want to tell this person because they know that they're not going to take it well. Yeah, I'm excited to see. I feel like she has a lot of potential. And I sincerely do want to see her succeed.
I really don't. I don't like how she's being typecasted into like roles where she has to speak Chinese because first of all she can't speak.
Yeah, and I mean her role in Crazy Rich Asians, the Paylin or whatever. God. Look.
Oh my god.
Look, I say this first, okay? Singapore got so many local people who are just as annoying after coming back from the US to study. You could have cast a fucking Singaporean.
You could have just stood at the immigration gates and just like pulled one person out. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
Just say this line now.
They think they're about to get like random drug tested.
Yeah.
But it's really just Kevin Kwan being like,
Read this line.
That's the casting process.
I Except that he can't enter Singapore.
Well, more on that later.
Another one that we're very passionate about, which we have mentioned earlier, is
Henry Golding.
the one and only Henry Golding. So a bit of background, if you don't know you only know him from Crazy Rich Asians.
If you're not familiar with Henry Ewan Golding,
First of all, he's part of a very weird talent agency.
Fly Entertainment.
But he's not just a talent, he's an artiste.
Yeah, there's a difference.
So yeah, they call all their like talents artistes. And as kids, we would always see him on what network was it? Do you remember?
Like TLC.
AXN, yeah, but like the
AXN, TLC, Asian Food Channel. That was a big one.
Basically a travel host.
Yeah. He so a bit of history. He grew up in the UK, was a hairstylist in London for a couple years, and then decided like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I watched his ASMR video.
I'm underappreciated here, but if I go back to Asia, they would be lapping this shit up.
And he was right.
Unfortunately for all of us.
He was so right.
I think for us, it was really more just this whiplash because we knew who Henry Golding was. He like existed in the back of our minds.
Very like bland.
He would occasionally be in, some commercial for some conglomerate company that would, be dubbed into like Thai and Vietnamese and Malay.
Or he would go to like Clark and be like, wow, ethnics.
Yeah. Or he would like return to his like native Sarawak and talk
Sarawak.
Yeah, and so we just knew him as that guy. And out of fucking nowhere, he is the breakout star of Crazy Rich Asians. And we're like,
first of all, this man cannot act.
Was Kris Jenner responsible for this deal? Because only she
I think the story
could pull these strings.
I was who was the director? John Chu, right? If I'm not wrong. He did like the Step Up movies and the Justin Bieber.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, so
John M. Chu, yes.
John M. Chu.
Yes.
I think I watched an interview where he was like, how Henry was casted was that they couldn't find a right male lead. And then one of his like accountants, who was a Malaysian, was like, I know a very handsome man. And they saw Henry Golding and was like, you got it. So, if anything, we have to blame the Malaysian accountant.
You know what?
Like, unleashing this Eastern.
Yeah, I mean, when in doubt, blame the Malaysians.
I mean, it's always
their fault. It's always their fault. It's always their fault. No exceptions. I
don't know if you saw it. He was in a gay movie recently about. Like,
some like Asian gay lover movie, right? Yeah, like the Asian Call Me by Your Name.
He has like a pretty big role in something that I can't remember now.
I think they're trying to, you know how in the 90s and the early 2000s, Hugh Grant was a big deal?
They're trying to Hugh Grantify him?
I mean, he was in that Christmas movie with Emilia Clarke. That is the most fucking like you're the next Hugh Grant thing the industry could do.
But if he wanted to be the next Hugh Grant, he should be like publicly fucking a prostitute.
No, not
yet. Of his career.
Yeah, but he's not reached the height of his career yet. He's like, he just got the baby. Like he's like still got that like
me with more of Henry Golding.
I mean, honey, it's inevitable. Like, don't you already know? Do we need a moment? Do we need to pause?
This is why we need to mobilize. Okay. Henry Golding hate campaign.
Yeah, we're actively rallying for this. Also, just because he's just very bland lah. Yeah. All he has is his accent and his like chiseled abs. Like
also, his wife is equally as boring. Who is like,
no lah? His wife is just like she got lucky. She's like Lily Rabe in the new like AHS. She's just like, we're rich. No, because her whole fucking Instagram is just like her and her like walking around different metropolitan cities eating the same brunches.
Do you think that he has cheated on her?
Wow.
With like with Constance Wu?
No lah, I think
Constance Wu, like a co-star.
I think not even a co-star.
A man.
Let's go with that. Let's keep it spicy. I mean, next one we have is Chloe Bennett.
Okay.
I don't know much about Chloe Bennett other than the fact that
her name
is Chloe Wang.
Yeah. So basically, I think her dad's Chinese explains why her name was Chloe Wang, but she's super white passing, and she tried to make it as a pop star in China, but failed, obviously.
In a white monkey way or in like a legit like pop star way?
Like a legit, like, I mean, like, you know, like when teens make like pop music, but like they have a like medium-sized budget.
It's like Arc Music Factory?
No, a bit like one step higher than that.
I'm sorry, that just unlocked a lot of like trauma for me.
Next episode? No, but yeah, she failed, so she rebranded and by rebranding means erasing her.
She's white now.
Last name, Bennett, and then she got casted in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I don't know what the fuck that is.
No, that's like some... I'm like so unaware of the Marvel things.
I don't know what's the difference between Marvel and DC.
Both times I watched a Marvel movie in the cinemas, I was dragged by a straight man, and I was angry the whole time, and I was like not enjoying myself. That's all I have to say about Marvel.
But again, we're losing many of our Asian men.
Nah, it's just Simu Liu.
Kumar.
Oh yeah. Coming up soon. The steroidification of Kumar. We're tackling the East Asians first, and then we'll get to the hot stuff.
We're moving by geographically.
Yeah. Next we have like a nice I mean, if this were, I don't know, fucking 2015, we'd refer to him as a small bean. But yeah, Randall Park. He's such a like humble, honest, down to earth king.
And also you can tell he like worked his way up because he has so many random like thing credits as extras in like every show.
Yeah, as like a doctor, like nurse number 2. No, and he was in a lot of Wong Fu stuff. That's
also coming up.
No, that's how you know like an Asian star really fucking hustled their way up in Hollywood. Is if you when you start at Wong Fu,
you can only go up.
Yeah. And I've honestly what have I seen that he's been in? I don't think.
He was like Asian Jim in The Office. I only noticed because for like Acosta's.
Oh yeah. But you see, that was still like way back in his career where he was specifically just like, okay, they need an Asian man.
And then I think his big break was Fresh Off the Boat.
Yeah, because it was he was Asian Jim first, I think, and then he did the Wong Fu stuff, and then big break, Fresh Off the Boat. But I mean, on that note, I guess we can talk about Fresh Off the Boat and why it's kind of
which leads us to another Asian actor that we really hate.
We don't. It's Constance Wu. Wu.
But I think people just hate her in general.
We'll get to that in a minute, but I mean, okay, first up, Fresh Off the Boat. What are your thoughts on it? Have you like watched it?
Yes. I think I've seen like the first few seasons because it was based off Eddie Wang.
His memoir,
right? And I liked his like bi-series, the one like he just like got stoned everywhere and ate a lot. And
no, because he used to be like a food journalist.
He creates some like NYC.
No, he's like some like Asian Maddie Matheson figure, right?
Basically. And I liked him. I liked his bi stuff. So I was like, okay, I'll watch this. And it was like for the first season, it was like pretty like transgressive, I would say, like for like in like the very tame terms, like the bar is very low for that.
Yeah. I mean, again, like calling back to how before this, it's all fucking, you know, Mickey Rooney and fucking Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Right.
The bar is in the fucking Mariana's Trench.
And I guess it was also like they had accents, they had Asian accents, and people were like, wow, is this like a normalization of like having foreign accents? And it's just like Constance Wu doing like a minstrel show.
Yeah, I feel like I understand like what they were trying to get at, where you're like, okay, the accent is not the joke. But is it? You know, you get what I'm getting at?
Yes.
Like, yes, you're saying the accent is, you know, to make things more authentic, and they're like immigrant parents, yada, yada, yada. But do you think the lines would be as funny without the accent?
Exactly. But I do think
and they're also like bad accents, you know what I mean? They're not,
especially when it's done by Constance Wu of all people.
Yeah, it sounds like a white person trying to do a stereotypical Asian accent, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say that
the only character that I really like on that show is the grandma.
Yeah, and she's like a famous like Asian American.
No, she's from the Joy Luck Club, right?
Is she? Everyone's in the Joy Luck Club, so
yeah. Like if you were from the generation before Wong Fu, you know, you like made it if you started the Joy Luck Club.
But I do think Randall Park's character was quite cute. Like not like because he's cute, but like it was
wholesome.
Like this, it was like this like Asian dad who like is enamored of American culture.
Yeah, it's very endearing, I think, because
that's all.
That's very relatable. That's any dad who spent any amount of time in the US in like the 80s and 90s who just thought it was this fucking amazing utopia and like are obsessed with cowboy culture for some reason.
And like Native American imagery.
Like they just love the Southwest for some fucking reason. Like that just sticks with them. Is it because that like, you know, those values reflect Asian values the most closely?
colonialism.
Yeah.
Like our value. I mean, it sounds close to Confucianism. So
Yeah, it's easy to get mixed, like lost in the sauce.
yeah, but
Like we all have that one picture of our dad in like New Balances in front of the fucking Statue of Liberty or some shit. And you know how like they love to pose. So they were really like in a stance.
they were like, "This is the best day of my life."
I know, in a jacket and like a cool t-shirt, faded ass jeans. Yeah. Like every Asian person has that picture of their dad. Everyone.
Yes. And I would like to say, since we never formally introduced ourselves,
yeah,
I was born in.
You asked that like a question.
I'm not sure. I was born in New Mexico, so my parents are like enamored with American culture since they've lived there for like 8 years in the South.
Specifically, like New Mexico culture.
Yeah. So my living room is like adorned with like weird like Native American memorabilia. So it's just like the different tribes of New Mexico, and it's like different ways you can tie strings or something like that, the different feathers.
No, that and like Roswell merch.
Yeah.
So like, much fucking Roswell merch.
Area 52.
No, have, like, your dad's UFO driver license.
Yes. And it's just like random cowboys and like a singing fish.
No, it's like, you know how Singaporean boomers are weirdly obsessed with line dancing?
Yes.
Again, do you have any idea where that comes from, or is that just something we all accepted?
Did you watch like a John Wayne?
No, they watched like too much Clint Eastwood and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like they just don't make movies anymore. But yeah, okay, let's
No, okay, sorry, we took that tangent too far. Back to
another one that we didn't write down.
Sorry, Constance Wu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Constance Wu.
There is so much to be said about her outside her minstrelness.
I don't know much about the roles she's taken, to be honest. Like, I know her from Fresh Off the Boat. I know her from Crazy Rich Asians, and then I know her from Hustlers, which...
Oh, did you watch Hustlers?
I hear it's good.
I watched it in the theater. It is, first of all, she has this ugly ass
wig. Yeah, I know about the wig.
And she is like the least convincing stripper you will ever meet. Because you're like, why would anyone want to pay top prices for her when they can just go to a massage parlor?
That is a take and a half.
But
please continue.
That's it.
But was it good?
That, Jennifer Lopez appears and she's like stripping to like Fiona Apple.
Was it good though?
No. It's like a Lifetime movie, like an elevated Lifetime movie.
Oh, okay. Like I was just excited because she was like, oh, an Asian woman playing a stripper. And like the kind of representation that I like to see is very much when you have an Asian person play a normal person and their race is not at the forefront of whatever. No, like when their race is not the driving force behind the plot or the character's motivation.
Yeah.
Like I love a good balance of like, oh, this character just so happens to be Indian, and like, sure, you have instances where elements of their culture come into play, but it's not what drives the whole show.
I guess the same can be said for a bunch of other marginalized identities.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And I mean, like a show that I think does that really well, like Master of None.
Yeah.
That's like the only thing that comes to mind.
We may get cancelled for our Aziz support.
Yeah, but no, I think Aziz is great. I'm putting it out there. I think Aziz is great. It's on record now.
It's also been out there that like the Babe.net expose was weird and like the company was weird and exploitative.
Yeah. But yeah, for Constance Wu, the thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, like despite what we've said about Fresh Off the Boat, it's the way that she responded.
It's just funny. That's not
her Twitter response. Her Twitter response to like Fresh Off the Boat getting renewed for another season was just, it was so much. It was so much. And the fact that she did an interview about it afterwards, and she said that well, you know, I'm an actress. I get dramatic.
Girl, same.
She was like, yeah, that's, you know, deal with it. I have my moments too. Celebrities, they're just like us. That didn't rub me the right way. Also, okay, this is like pure conjecture, right? This is a story I heard from an acquaintance at a party like 2-3 years ago.
Which you're gonna take it as word because
I said so.
Yeah.
So this friend was an extra on Crazy Rich Asians, and like the set of Crazy Rich Asians was crazy. But this is what it's like on most movie sets. Like the extras are allowed no fucking contact. Like it's written into their contract that they're not allowed to speak to the main cast. They're basically like a completely different class of citizen on set, right? So while they were shooting the wedding scene, they were in chimes. My friend noticed that there was something wrong with the train of Constance Wu's dress. So she goes to go fix it. And Constance is like, stop fucking touching me. Get the fuck off of me. And is like, yeah. And just like, orders security to like get her off. Not offset because, she needed to be there, but let's just get her away from her. So
make of that what you will.
Yeah. I don't know. That doesn't sound very nice. Because we are beacons of kindness and respect to our fellow man.
Insulted another.
We really haven't. We only insult ourselves.
But another thing that came to mind when you're talking about what makes good Asian representation, I was thinking about the fucking Sofia Coppola lingering and how they erased one of the most iconic Asian women.
No, and she was the fucking ringleader.
Yeah, she basically was.
And they replaced her with who? Fucking Emma Watson?
I don't think it was Emma Watson. It was just another white girl.
Emma Roberts?
No, I don't know.
No, because it feels like a very fucking Emma Roberts movie to be in.
But I think she was abusing Evan Peters at the time, so.
Oh yeah, she had a lot on her fucking plate.
Next we want to talk about Aziz again, since we talked about Master of None.
Oh yeah, okay, let's talk about some South Asian people.
Spice it up.
Yes, it's my time to shine. Okay, we'll start with the good ones. I mean, I think honestly Aziz Ansari is great.
Yes.
He's never made race the forefront of any of his comedy. He's never had to like do an accent.
He's just unpleasant and annoying, which is, I respect that.
Yeah, because because that's exactly what we are, and we need to own it and respect it.
Unpleasant and annoying.
Normalize being unpleasant and annoying. Okay. No, like even when he, like does comedy about interactions with his parents, he doesn't feel the need to do a fucking accent.
Yeah.
I really respect that because I don't think that's something a lot of Asian comics succeed in doing.
Yeah, like they will literally like disrespect their parents.
No, their parents, they create minstrel characters based off of their parents, right? So I love Aziz. I love that, and this is where that sort of double standard hypocrisy comes in, right? Because you like I said, Master of None is great. It's perfectly balanced.
Mm-hmm.
I cried, I laughed, my heart fluttered in that one scene where they talk about his father's childhood and they speak Tamil, and I'm like, I've never heard Tamil been spoken in Western media before, because even when they do represent brown people, it's always like North Indian.
It's his actual father.
And I'm just, and Aziz Ansari's father is such a star on his own.
Again,
he steals the show. He's been snubbed of so many awards. Yeah, I absolutely love it. But in season 2, when he starts dating Francesca, the white woman, allora, like there was a secret part of my heart that was like, you're not gonna date a brown woman,
which is a running theme among South Asian male celebs, right?
Yeah, no, and it's like a super ethnic minority thing.
Also, I think in real life, he has dated just mild white women.
No, it's a very ethnic minority woman thing for some reason, where you absolutely yeah. I mean, another pretty good decent someone we're not too mad at is Kumar Nanjiani,
because he was an actual immigrant. He was
he was an immigrant. He had an immigrant story. He did The Big Sick, which again,
very cute. We saw on my 16th birthday. Oh no, it was 18.
We watched on your 18th birthday in a love seat at the cinema, and we both cried, and it was beautiful. In that case, the cultural pressures that he faced were a driving force in the story. But the fact that he overcame them and had something different to say and did not just conform to those pressures.
And then everything was fine.
And then, there was nuance.
And there was that 9/11 joke.
Yeah. We always need a 9/11
We always need a 9/11 joke to elevate something.
Yeah, to spice things up, to dress it up for the summer.
But unfortunately, I think we've lost him to the Marvel machine. He's gone.
The steroidification of Kumail. If you've not seen the jacked up image of Kumail Nanjiani,
to search up the one picture of him eating a pandan cake. In that picture, it looks like his entire muscles are separating from his bones. and like his skin is like bursting.
Why did you bring up the pandan cake first? Because that's not something I ever noticed.
Because he was saying how much he loved pandan cake, and I was thinking about how dry it probably was. I was like, on top of all your steroids, you're just like raw dogging this pandan cake. No.
Oh wait, you're right. Like, yeah, you do need like milk or water to like. Yeah, that shit gets lodged in your...
Performative pandan
It
cake
gets
eating.
lodged in...
I don't think he ate it, actually. I think it's this like Marvel diet. I don't even know what he's playing, by the way.
No, maybe he's on like this strange Marvel diet where he can only eat green foods. It's like he read it on Goop and he's like, yeah, cool.
I mean, yeah, but you know what he's playing?
No, like, dude, stop asking me about Marvel. I don't know a single fucking thing about Marvel. Like, okay, if someone says Marvel, I'm like, okay, I think about Chris Pratt and Hillsong.
Who's Chris Pratt?
Chris Pratt and Hillsong. The guy who's married to Anna Faris.
No, as in, like, who did he play?
He was in Guardians of the Galaxy, some shit like that. And then Guardians of the Galaxy. So
because one of them was directed by Taika Waititi.
Race Trader.
BB Rexa. Not BB Rexa, sorry, Rita Ora. There you go. Again, name something that Rita Ora has done.
Yeah, because the two, like I said, the two times I watched a Marvel movie in the cinema or I was dragged by them, they were both Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Oh wait, no, one was...
I think one was Endgame, right?
I don't even fucking know. I think, no, not Endgame. The one before that. I don't...
Before game?
Pre-game.
Almost Endgame.
Yeah, Avengers pre-game. And like so this is my thought process. Okay, fuck. Chris Pratt, Hillsong, and then there's a character named Gamora, which, like, come on. I just think of Sodom and Gomorrah the whole fucking time.
It just all leads back to Jesus.
Yeah, and then, like, there's Groot, and then there's, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
Yes. But is that it? I don't know.
And then there's Robert Downey Jr.,
who again managed to rehabilitate his image from being like a druggy bad boy when in jail. Nepotism baby.
Is he?
Yeah, he's a junior.
Oh, right. Okay.
There has to be a senior. You can't just name your child Junior.
Okay.
Another one of our favorites.
Oh, okay. Now that we've padded the entrance, we gotta go in. Miss, J Squared, Jams, Jamtu, Jamila, motherfucking Jamil.
But honestly, if you think about it, she could be like positive representation in the sense that she's unpleasant and annoying, but not because of her race. She doesn't really make it about her race. She's just unpleasant and annoying.
Yeah, she makes it about her like
Munchausen.
Yeah. I mean, Jamila Jamil, very known for her 2014 brand of girl boss fucking quote unquote feminism. There is so much to say that I don't know where to begin.
The intersectional trauma,
Oh yeah, so call back to our previous episode. She is, famous for saying the line, I can't believe how fucking intersectional your trauma is.
To Margaret Cho, by the way. So it was like an Asian on Asian crime.
Yeah, and I listened to that whole fucking episode. And so Margaret Cho is talking about like, she was sexually abused as a child. She had all of these issues with her parents. Her parents were basically Korean immigrants who came to America and then they realized, oh my God, we're free. And then they all started cheating on each other. Mm-hmm. And yeah, she was, she had a very like unconventional upbringing. And Jamila's like, I absolutely know what that feels like because I was partially deaf as a child. And I'm like, Jamila, just shut the fuck up for 1 second. No, and I love that. Okay, like, I assume you've seen like a couple of episodes of The Good Place, right?
I've seen the whole thing. Unfortunately, I'm not very proud of that.
She basically plays herself. Yeah. She's always fucking name dropping. And then her most recent one where she was just like, women need capitalism.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, Carmax really failed to consider that.
No, with the holy trinity of Jamila Jamil, Chelsea Handler,
Amy Schumer. Let's bring back Amy Schumer.
That's really the holy trinity of the like fucking.
No, you're missing what's her name? Whitney Cummings and Sarah Silverman.
Yeah, the 5 horsewomen of like this 2015 live, laugh, love fucking brand
like
of
My Vagina.
Like, I had an abortion party, add Lena Dunham to that list.
Again, I have some sympathy for her and love.
She's a good writer, horrible person. She also, there's the whole Jamila Jamil Munchausen's conspiracy.
which we are not going to explain at all. You just have to search it up yourself.
Bitch, I did not Google this to leave it out. So,
but there's more to this.
A 2015 interview that Jamil did with The Mirror, where she describes, now strap in and strap on, being partially deaf, having a severe shellfish and peanut allergy, her celiac disease diagnosis, a bout of mercury poisoning from teeth fillings, a breast cancer scare in 2014, and get ready for this, spinal damage she incurred after running into traffic to avoid a bee.
That's my favorite one because there's been multiple like reincarnations of the bee story that she would tell.
Yeah, so I was getting to that. So the you know, life, laughs, and love. If all of these things happen to her, my heart, like what's left of it, really goes out to you, JJ. But the reason why, you know, there's this Munchausen's conspiracy is because a journalist.
I don't even think she's a journalist. She's just like a serial gossiper online.
Yeah, she's one of us. Noticed some inconsistencies in Jamila's story, specifically about this whole like bee-related traffic incident across interviews, right? Because at one point she said that she had a spinal cord injury and then she had to use a walker for 6 months. And then another one, she was like, she had a spinal cord injury and then she was on a wheelchair. Jamila actually came out with what is possibly the worst response possible. This is like when OJ wrote that book, If I Did It, where he talked about if he killed Nicole, how he would have done it.
By the way, a slight detour. There was like apparently an OJ quote recently where he was like, he's scared of dining out in LA because you could be sitting next to the killer.
Yeah, I saw that. But yeah, so Jamila Jamil comes in to fucking clear this whole thing up. She's like, guys, this bitch is so fucking dumb.
Uh-huh.
These bee-related traffic incidents, like she's talking about them like they were the same thing. Nuh-uh. They were separate. I had two incidents where I had to run into fucking oncoming traffic because I was being chased by fucking, you know, Barry B. Benson.
Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah. It was just guerrilla marketing. Oh my God. Honest.
No, that was Jamila like actively campaigning for B-Movie 2.
One of us.
You like jazz. And you know, as far as what she's really done for like the minority community.
Didn't she get like some controversy like fairly recently about she was hosting like a voguing reality competition? Oh, and they were like, what the fuck does Jamila Jamil know about voguing? Imagine being judged by Jamila Jamil for voguing.
She watches like the trailer for Paris is Burning and she's like, okay, I'm ready.
I don't even think she watched Paris is Burning. She just watched like
the trailer for Pose.
Yeah. Or like Drag Race.
The trailer for Drag Race. She watches like Drag Race, like Drag Race All Stars best moments. Yeah.
Shadiest moments.
Oh, speaking of which, have you seen the new Violet Chachki music video, Miss Violet?
No.
It's a great song. We'll do it. We'll listen to it.
I'm more of an Alaska Thunderfuck girl.
We'll get into it when we're done with this. I mean, we're almost done with the Jamila portion. I just before we leave our good friend, I just want to ask, like, what the fuck is up with those bangs? Are they real?
No, the thing is, it's so specific because it like pots at like in the middle.
No, it never fucking moves.
And it never moves.
I think
it's a clip-on bang. It's like Florence Pugh's hair in Little Women.
No, it's like a whole headpiece and she's like a cone head underneath.
That explains a lot, actually. You know what rubbed me the wrong way? Her boyfriend, James Blake.
I just love that you said it like, you know, he can't find your clit. Like James Blake actively cannot find your clit. I cannot
name you a single James Blake song. I cannot tell you what his music is.
Oh no, so I was reading, so sorry, for research, I was reading like Jamila Jamil criticism, right? And then they were talking about her boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And they're like, who is Jamila Jamil's boyfriend? James Blake. Is he the guy who wrote You're Beautiful? And then they're like, no, that's James Blunt. James Blake, blah, blah, blah. And that's like all of my knowledge of James Blake.
I know he like makes music that like guys who like will show you their vinyl collection will talk about.
No, like you go over because you're drunk and like you want to fuck.
And then like, have you heard of this great electronic artist?
Yeah, and then he like, and then you know how they like do that thing where they like come and look at your bookshelf, and I'm like, I didn't give you fucking permission to do that.
I'm sorry, I have the entire Shopaholics.
And then they'll see like my copy of 1984 that I bought in an airport and like never read, and I'm like,
It was very Orwellian of you.
Like I was looking forward to having like, you know, somewhat decent sex with you.
But
now it's going to be so.
Now it's going to be Orwellian.
Now I'm just gonna do that thing where I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's like, babe, I'm gonna come.
No.
I'm gonna come. Babe.
No, and then he's like, yeah, you like that? Yeah, you like
and
that?
Like, yeah.
You're like,
sure.
Yeah.
Like whatever helps you sleep at night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't like how he like white knights for her on Instagram after every contract.
What do you think she has on him?
A strap on, first of all. A strap on, a hold over his pussy. And she's like this Amazonian woman. I'm pretty sure he has like some sort of femdom fetish.
Possibly. Is that all we have to say about? I feel like we have so much to say about her,
but I think we can just talk about her in every episode.
Yeah.
Like a little Jamila update section.
Like, yep, we still dislike her with the burning fire of 1,000 suns. But talking about Jamila reminds me of another like problematic brown queen, Priyanka. Priyanka Chopra.
Oh.
So I'll be real. So Priyanka got her start back when she was
a Bollywood.
No, she was like Miss Universe in like 2002 or something. And she got a nose job, and then she did the Indian beauty queen thing where she broke into the Bollywood industry. And for a period, like I did see she was great because like I was a kid during that time. And I would watch the movies that she was in, and I thought she was like so beautiful. Like she was everything that I wanted to be. And then she first started to do a solo music career. I'm not sure if you guys like have heard her song. It's like called Exotic, right?
Yeah, I love it.
It was our favorite song in secondary school. It goes a little something like, I'm feeling so exotic. I'm hotter than the tropics. London, Dubai, baby, let's go.
It's international.
Love me all the way to Rio. And that, I mean, yeah, that speaks for itself. That didn't go so well. I mean, like, scientists are still trying to figure out why.
Yeah.
And then, like, oh my god, our sister did it. She fucking landed the lead role on Quantico.
The much coveted role.
Like, brown people everywhere did not know what to fucking do with themselves. We were like, we fucking made it. We have penetrated this impregnable fortress that is Hollywood. And I mean, okay, since we're talking about representation, right? As far as fucking representation goes, okay, also like I don't know anything about Quantico, so I can't be completely talking absolute bullshit. No, she's like goes to join the FBI, not firefighters. That's why it's called fucking Quantico, because that's... Okay, wait, let me Google. Is it CIA or FBI?
I don't know, because years of watching like trailers for shows like that on Star World.
Shout out Star World. Like, you're the reason we are the way we are today.
Yeah, like has just made them all merge into one like horny drama CIA.
Yeah, it's the FBI training academy.
Okay,
so she's so it's like, you know, all of
she's a double narc.
Yeah, also like the fun wacky hijinks they get up to while training to be FBI agent. And I'm like, she has the lead role, which honestly, if we're talking about representation, that's a win in my book. And then the bitch had to go fucking marry Nick Jonas.
Again, PR relationship.
And then she had to go fucking clap to a garden of 0 fucking people.
Thank
for COVID.
You for your service, frontline workers.
And then she had to say in you know, regards to her accent or her Indian heritage, she said, I'm a citizen of the world, Jimmy. I don't relate to any single ethnicity or
is she wrong? Are we not
all just citizens of the world? I don't see race. I don't see color.
I only see one race.
The human race.
So
no, but like she says shit like that, and then she's actively like, "Yo, fuck Pakistan, fuck Kashmir." Like they can all die. Like people are gonna die, but it's like inevitable. Yeah. Thank you so much, Vanessa Hudgens. I never realized up until now how really applicable.
Really was speaking facts.
So way ahead of her time.
Okay.
Yeah, she had to, no. Did she do anything else?
She did a bunch of cringy stuff on talk shows.
Because she was like, again, so she's talking about her like multicultural, like multi-religious background. And so she's talking about how, she's a Hindu. So like she was aware of that. She went to I went to a convent school, so I was aware of Christianity. My father used to sing in a mosque. Like, let's not discuss the fact that like music is basically outlawed in Islam. So not really sure what she's talking about. But you do you, Priyanka. And then she had that just ridiculously extravagant wedding.
With fucking Nick Jonas. Like, which at that point, I couldn't even react to it. Like, I had no react. I was so numb from, like, her.
And Nick Jonas, who, I watched his whole E! True Hollywood story in 2012. Yes. And I was like, oh my God.
I watched them put on the promise rings. I watched the Jonas Brothers take off the promise rings.
Before that, when they, like, found out he had type 1 diabetes.
Wow.
That was, like, and he was
the struggle.
Yeah, you know that TikTok that's, like, show yourself and show the thing that almost killed you. So fucking dramatic. I was like, oh my God, my future husband, Nick Jonas, like, I need to take note of that. Like, he needs his insulin.
He needs his insulin.
But I mean, that's all I have for Priyanka.
I just, that image reminded me of Katy Perry and Russell Brand's Indian wedding, where she rode out in a large elephant.
I'm not even mad about that, though, because that was kind of Katy Perry's best fucking era.
And also she deserved it for releasing Teenage Dream.
Exactly. Teenage Dream, okay, I'm gonna say it right here, right now. Best pop album of our generation.
Just straight bangers, all of them.
Teenage Dream. Like, songs you didn't even realize were on Teenage Dream, like Starstruck with 303, that fucking sealed the deal for me. I was like, yep, I mean, no doubt about it.
E.T. with
Kanye West.
Mr. Kanye West himself.
Tell Me What's Next, Alien Sex. His mind. You
think Donda will ever top that? No.
Next, Brown Queen.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
This has to be a response from us.
Oh, okay. So we have Mindy Kaling and so Mitchell Hansen. You may remember him from episode 1.
Of episode 1 fame.
Yeah. Mitchell Hansen. He did say that he would report the podcast if there was any like non-office related Mindy slander. Sorry, Mitchie Poo. I have some things to say as a brown person myself.
Go off. Go off, please.
I liked her in The Office. Because again...
Did you watch The Office?
I watched all of The Office.
What?
I watched all of the fucking Office. Like, we have to be real with each other.
Okay.
Like, if we have to be friends, I have to, like, be vulnerable with you. And I watched all of The Office. And you know what? I had a really good fucking time.
Okay.
But anyway, the Kelly Kapoor character is a very good example of a character that is incidentally Asian. She doesn't fall into any of the usual stereotypes or tropes. She's, a
mess, I guess.
Yeah.
From the memes,
like a pop culture obsessed, just does like messy fucking love life,
Relatable.
Obsessed with every man she meets. I mean, I've never felt so fucking represented. And again, there's and there's like a Diwali episode. So again, right? References to the culture without it being a driving force
without
for
being
the character. And then she dates a guy called Ravi, but eventually leaves him for... No, I didn't watch that far. I don't know. After I didn't watch the whole thing. After Steve Carell left, I stopped watching.
He left?
Yeah. And then the show became bad because...
And it was about Jim and Pam?
No, because Christopher Walken became the boss for a little bit. Yeah.
What?
He had a character that was called Robert California.
What?
This
is all news to me.
I don't wish to explain myself any further at this moment. So she did that, and then she's super well known for the Mindy Project, which I know nothing about and didn't watch. But again, I think it's one of those things where she is just a regular person who happens to be Indian, right? Right. Did you ever watch the Mindy Project?
No, I saw ads for it on Star Wars. But I don't like I didn't like Mindy Kaling, and I don't really like her now.
Yeah, so I like that. And then you have her most recent thing that she's been known for, which is Never Have I Ever. And I did not watch it I did not watch it when it came out. I watched it specifically as like research for this episode. And I don't know. I only watched 5 episodes of the first season.
I watched both seasons. I think it's fairly well written.
Okay.
And, a lot of the like problems that center around her Indianness is like very, I guess, relatable. Like in the second season, spoiler alert, another Indian girl comes into her school and she's like way prettier, way funnier than her. And the nerdy white boy is into her and she gets very insecure. So she's like, I'm the only token. I'm only allowed to be the token.
Like, I'm the special brown girl. Like, I lose my prestige
which
if someone else
was very,
in.
like, surprisingly,
relatable.
like, nuanced in the writing.
Yeah.
It's, like, internalized hatred.
I mean, that's heartening to hear because, like, of what I know of season 1 and things that I've read, right? It's like it falls flat for me because I feel like the writing is a bit confused.
Also, can I just say, her dad, who was the guy in Heroes, again, Asian representation.
Not Mindy Kaling's dad, by the way, the protagonist of Never Have I Ever.
One. Which, by the way, Heroes had so many Asian characters.
The Asian guy?
The Japanese guy, the hot Indian guy, who was like the master, like the smart guy.
And then Hayden Panettiere, who's not Asian, but like the only character from Heroes
Zachary
that I know.
Quinto, which you can imagine him being half Asian. Like, if you put your mind to it,
I mean, he played
Asian.
Spock, so yeah. As far as Never Have I Ever goes, I think the writing is a bit, at least for season 1, for what I have watched, I think the writing is a bit lazy and I think it's a bit confused. Because
it's like boy centric in
no, I think not that. I think because they don't like my question while watching is who is your audience, right? Because
white people.
Yeah, so I assume that your audience is white people because you have a white person narrate the show in a very explanatory manner. So if you were targeting this at regular Indian people, you wouldn't need that. At the same time, you have a lot of very, like, the characters are written in a very one-dimensional way. They have these rigid
stereotypes.
Yeah, they have these rigid belief systems, but there's no explanation as to why.
Yeah, there's definitely
and there's no and there's like no growth that I see. So in like the first season, they just are the way that they are, which is not healthy if this is what you're portraying to a Western audience.
But also, like, it's like a very liberal take on like a neoliberal take on representation. This is like very non-offensive, like ambiguous, vague, like
And what I think is that as far as it being a coming of age teen sitcom, it does a great job. I wish that they would be like that's.
Oh, if they could market it that way.
Yeah, instead of it being this whole like, oh wow, this is really a cornerstone of. Like a cornerstone in Indian representation. This is a huge fucking milestone for the community because I mean,
it is not.
It's not. It's a good, at best, it's a good teen drama. I did fall asleep. The Indianness feels like such a fucking afterthought, and they go like they work overtime trying to like remind you that she's like Indian and. I don't think there's a need for that.
And I guess I think that's just a problem with second generation, I guess first generation Asian Americans, is that they don't feel close enough to the Asian heritage and their parents didn't like instill it as a kid because they're trying to like assimilate into the US or the Western countries. And so like they write about these like Asian things and customs from like a very like white person point of view, basically.
Yeah, where they're basically learning their culture from scratch or learning to appreciate who they are.
Do that in your own time. You don't have to force it down our throats. Like, come back when you figured it out.
Yeah. I mean, like,
enough of, like,
these, like, immigrant soul-searching stories. I'm ready for something new.
Because sorry, white people called your food smelly as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, get over it.
No, but, like, I mean, like, the whole, like, subtle Asian traits brand of content. Like, let's get over...
Boba liberals.
I mean, we've been having to deal with, like, first daughter of immigrant parent content since the Tumblr days. I think we have evolved enough.
But again, TikTok
so let's just create something new and something that actually works.
Exactly. That's
But I will say,
fandom.
yeah, but I will say that, I mean, to its credit, if I watched Never Have I Ever as a teenager, I would have, I would probably have had less of a fucking eating disorder and like body dysmorphia and stuff.
Do you feel that it's more because of like she's just unpleasant in a way?
No, it's not.
Her race,
no, I will say, like, from a very superficial point of view, right? Like, she's Indian, but she was very normal looking. You know what I mean? Like, her brows are not perfectly done. Very fucking relatable.
No, yeah,
like, her hair is not perfectly
done
all the time.
Really well. It was like an actual team who played her.
Yeah, and it feels very natural. The casting choice is good. But then again, you know, you have these things where I'm like, Mindy, what the fuck are you doing?
Like the dirty old Harper.
No, the fact that at the end of the day, she's like the underdog character still. And then like the woman who is touted as like the most beautiful character on the show is still like the most Eurocentric looking woman. You know what I mean? Her cousin Kamala.
Okay.
She's still like the fucking fairest, sharp nose, perfect brows, no mustache.
She's also a hashtag woman in STEM, so she has the brains. And
as a former woman in STEM, fuck STEM, bro.
Honestly,
yeah.
We shouldn't be rooting for women in STEM. Just the one in STEM, please.
Just fuck STEM. Can we not? Can we just? Yeah. But yeah, I suppose I'll have to watch more of it too.
I think you can just skip to season 2, honestly.
Yeah.
There's not much of the one that...
Yeah. Also, my like the one big gripe with Mindy Kaling is like, okay, so her name, right? Her name. I get it. She started doing stand-up comedy and like people would make fun of her because her last name, if you don't know, is Chokalingam, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I understand that, you know, Angmo people are going to make fun of that lah. And so she changed it to Kaling, which is very funny to me because in Singapore and Malaysia, Kaling is actually like a slur for Indian people. So so like I'm sure that means nothing to her since she didn't grow up here. But yeah, she basically just called herself Mindy Kaling. And it's even funnier because Mindy is her middle name and her first name is Vera. So like if I were to be a drag queen, that would be my name, Vera Kaling. Very Kaling. And I understand the need for having to do that in the time when she started out in the industry. But I mean, you fucking just produced Never Have I Ever. Come out and be like, hi, my name, I'm coming out as Vera Mindy Chokalingam. And like, on behalf of all of like the Indian or Tamil speaking people, I will like just ask you, Wapanoda peru solla naaku koosuda, which, translates literally to, does it tickle your tongue to say your father's name? It's very poignant. It's very like... Okay,
wow, yeah, I brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah.
As you can see.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have to... can we take 5? And then, you know, a small little tidbit reminding everyone that her brother basically posed as a black man to get into college.
And as I quote, he is pitching a book about his experiences as a hard-partying college frat boy who discovered the seriousness and complexity of America's racial problems while posing as a black man.
I love that they named their...
They buried the lead.
I love that they named their daughter, like, Vera Mindy. And then they named their son Bijay.
Also, while we're talking about Mindy Kaling's like personal life, we have to talk about BJ Novak.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely like again.
She's definitely not over him. First of all, she'll never be over him. She wrote him into Never Have I Ever. Basically.
Do you think that he's the father of a child?
Honestly, no. I think she just
it would be too like obvious.
Yeah. Also, I think BJ would like break down if he had like a child. He wouldn't be able to like fuck 20-year-old Instagram models.
Yeah, like he wouldn't be able to afford to fly them out because he'd be paying child support.
Yeah. Also, he strikes me as a bit of like a sociopath.
A bit.
Okay, a lot.
Thank you. If only you'd watched The Office, you'd know a little about that.
I don't know what else he has started, so...
Neither do I, actually. Good point. Fair point. Was he in the Mindy Project?
Probably. I think he was.
Right? Something like that.
I think him in as like one of the...
So they can stay fucking.
Yeah.
Also, like just one more point about Never Have I Ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like Paxton, the guy that she goes after, like is so unremarkable and like not attractive.
Honestly, all the like...
But
what?
If you think about it, technically it's like
That's good.
Very accurate.
Yes.
Because as teenage Asian girls, we all lusted after the most mediocre, like semi, like a bit white can ready kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And now you look back and you're like, the fuck.
It's like,
so in a way, kind of like really rings true to my experiences.
I think it's also the fact that he's like a hapa. Like, I mean, it's proven with Henry Golding, they just have no substance. Especially the like traditionally handsome, half white, half Asian guys they try to push.
Yeah. What else do we have?
Oh, we have like, we're going into YouTuber territory, but we can skip to the ones that we love.
The ones that we love. Mike Chen from Strictly Dumpling.
Which,
let's, yes.
I don't
yes.
know what to respond to.
Yes, he has ties to Falun Gong.
Yes, Falun Gong is not a cult.
Falun Dafa is good. In case anyone's wondering, Falun Dafa is good. Unless you're the CCP listening to this, in which case, like, fuck Falun Dafa. I, like, do not fuck with them.
Do you know, like, they left their weird right-wing propaganda paper at my door?
Yeah, you keep telling me that every week.
It was very scary. I was like, the Falun Dafa, like, targeting me to be Strictly Dumplings number 2. Which honestly I would. So
and I'm sorry to bring this up again. Okay, so Strictly Dumpling is really just a vehicle to talk about like the most fucking hated Asian man on this list. Like
he has set us back
like
by like literally centuries, like millenniums. Like
the minstrel award of the fucking century goes to fucking Nigel Ng, otherwise known as Uncle Roger on the internet. The fact that this man
has made a
became
career.
popular with such content in the Lord's year 2020 is so fucking upsetting to me.
And the way Asians were just eating him up.
No, not Asians. Also, specifically like Western Asians.
No, actually even like Asians like in Singapore. I remember he was that he did.
Do we which brings us to the question, do we fucking deserve good representation?
No. Like, just watch a fucking Wong Kar-wai film.
That's the thing with Asians. We fucking hate ourselves too much.
Yes, and also we hate other Asians the most, honestly.
Yeah.
So it's very funny when Asian Americans try to all lump themselves into one collective category. Like Asian Americans or AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islanders.
Which, again, sorry to burst your bubble and like, controversial opinion, but Filipinos are not Pacific Islander. And that's all I will say on the fucking matter.
Yeah, the fact that like the diaspora are all lumping themselves together when it's like, you go to Asia, we hate each other. Even within the same country, we hate each other.
Yeah, that's like kind of our thing, is that we keep to ourselves and fuck you.
So it's so weird. They're trying to like feign this unity, which has like no actual grounding in like their home country, which they so desperately want to connect with.
Yeah, based off the most shallow things like God forgive me for saying this word boba. This is making me angry. I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, so Mike Chen of Strictly Dumplings, very ironically, is like known for looking like a Jackie Chan. But like, I realize now how much those comments must infuriate him, because he's like, Jackie Chan is a mouthpiece for the CC, while Mike Chen actively campaigns against them, right? So Uncle Roger made a collaboration video with Mike Chen and then promptly deleted it after it was posted. And he said that, thank you for your continual support for my channel. I posted a video and then it came to my understanding that this video has made a bad social image. And basically,
love his PR response.
He didn't realize that Mike Chen was vocal about his sentiments against the CCP, and so he just deleted the video. And his justification being, as an Asian who grew up in Malaysia, I love Chinese culture.
Okay, first of all, again, Malaysians strike again.
See, it always comes back to them. And even if, like, for some reason you're a very fucking lost finance bro who found this podcast and you listen this far because we're really fucking hot, think about it. 1MDB, who started it? Jolo, the fucking Malaysians, okay?
Yeah.
So
food for thought.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And you see, the Malaysians can't even come for us on Twitter because we are private.
I would also like to say that he has a podcast called Rise to Meet You.
This is how far I will go for this fucking pod. I listened to 20 minutes of an episode.
I listened to the one where he talked about like he had a white ex-wife.
I listened to the most recent one. So his co-host said, "Boy, have I had a week." To which he responded, "You know who else has had a week? The Taliban."
Wow, that is just
and he's like, well, you were at a lake taking pictures of yourself. Were you falling off of an airplane? So do you really think you've had a week? At which point I was like,
I'm sorry, since when did Uncle Roger become a neoliberal?
It's so weird that
Is he like suddenly concerned about the women of Afghanistan?
The duality of man. But that's all we will say about the terrorist organization that rhymes with Schmalaban, because we're really not going to open that can of worms. We are severely underqualified to say anything.
We can go to some positive stuff with our favorite Asian actors of the current age.
Steven Yeun. We don't have many things to say about the rest. This will wrap up quick. Steven Yeun, Riz Ahmed, Dev Patel. Sorry. I really fucking apologize for saying Dev Patel. Who the fuck do I think I am? I mean, Dev Patel. Just Rain. I mean, he fell off, as in off the internet.
If you've never seen his YouTube videos, please.
Yeah, I think
pause this and search it up.
If we're talking about representation online, as far as when YouTube creators were really popping off, you have the big comparison between Just Rain and Lily Singh. Lily Singh, who has
Superwoman I.
Oh,
call her by her real full name.
Sorry that's her dead name, by the way, because I think DC Comics was suing her.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Because they have they own the whole
an X Wimson. I just a food for thought, a thought experiment for you.
Anyway, Lily Singh, who's gone on to achieve quote unquote commercial success. I mean, that's very debatable.
First women talk show host.
Yeah, because she
late night talk show.
Yeah, because she has received very abysmal reviews for her quote unquote talk show thing, and I think the audience are instructed when to laugh and stuff.
We all
you should really go watch the videos about the people who were part of her audience, and she started making videos again, the sort of videos we were talking about, where her her parents were the butt of the joke, and not in a good way. It was very much informational comedy about Indian families that was targeted towards that was intended to be digestible for a white audience. So again, over-reliance on the accents and on the stereotypes for the sake of comedy. It was very much laughing at your own community.
The whole shtick was that they're conservative, they had funny accents.
That was the whole thing. And then you compare it to a creator like Just Rain, who was actively championing for his community, making content for his community.
It was self-deprecating, but it was done in a way,
and it was
self-aware.
No, and it was very clear that it was for his community. Yeah. It was not for an outside lens, And
that's why it was so funny.
Yeah, it was very honest, and I think that's why when he did become quite popular for, I believe he had a bit of a podcast, and he was on Vine, and he was on the up and up, and I think
he was on Vine.
And then he just completely disappeared, and I think that's because he realized that he couldn't maintain the authenticity of his comedy.
Also, let's be real here. Hollywood would never put a guy in a turban in any sort of position of influence.
Yeah. I didn't actually think about that, but that's right.
Yeah.
They are way too that is so far away from being a thing, and I think that's something I implore all of you to think about.
A thought experiment you can have is imagining Just Rain in the place of Henry Golding.
Yeah.
Just imagine that and manifest that.
That's what we're manifesting this week, ladies. Just Rain as the new Hugh Grant.
Let us charge all our crystals to collectively manifest this.
Okay, and I think we'll close it off with one East Asian and one brown queen. Yeah. So who do you want to go with first?
Darren Criss.
Okay, yeah, Darren Criss. This one's a fucking clusterfuck. So
there's so many layers to this.
Darren Criss, he's half white, half Filipino.
In case you never knew.
Yeah,
it's not very obvious.
His mother was famously born in Cebu City.
Hard to say is a sexpat hotbed. So
do with that information what you will.
Mm-hmm.
So he very famously once said, "I always say one of my favorite things about myself is that I'm half Filipino, but I don't look like it." Which, okay, let's, put our little critical thinking caps on for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he is an actor in Hollywood, right? So we all know it benefits to be white passing. So I will not discredit him. I think I can understand the place from which he comes, where it's yes, it's beneficial to me that I look more white. What is fucking deranged about this is that he says, I always say that it's one of my favorite things about myself.
Imagine it's like he's a kid and then he's just like, okay, everyone just name your favorite trait. And he's like, ma'am, can I go first? And he's like, it's because I don't look half Filipino.
Yeah, he's just like, you know how they used to, like, the icebreaker game was like, oh, you have to, like, describe yourself with a word that starts with the same, like, first letter as your name.
Uh-huh.
And then, so, like, I always used to be like, special Sonia. And then, you know, I guess you would go.
Special ed Sonia.
And so he's just like, I'm Caucasian Chris.
And he's just like, okay, let's move on.
And so he tried to clear this up by saying, oh, no, okay, what I meant by that is, I, as a white passing man, I don't feel that it's fair for me to, you know, like apply for a scholarship claiming to be Asian American when I've not had those experiences. And I read that and I was like, okay, fair.
Yeah.
And then immediately the next line is, he recounts, a time when someone else was talking to him about Asian American representation. And this person said, you know, they don't see a lot of stuff for Filipinos specifically. And Darren Chris is like, I still cannot believe this is like not a joke response. He said, and this is what he said, I guess not, but I guess I don't think about it. I have the luxury of being half white and looking more Caucasian, so it doesn't weigh on my conscience as much. Like, why aren't there more roles? I think as an actor, you just study and you want to bring your A game all the time, and hopefully it doesn't even matter.
It's like people die, but it's like
inevitable. That's like Scarlett Johansson being like, it's about the talent.
I could play
a tree. And my favorite quote from Darren Chris of all time is when he says, I've been half Filipino my whole life.
Wow.
What?
Revelation.
No, I thought you, like, you know, get your half Filipino at the age, like, between the ages of, like, 11 and 16.
He's just so brave for coming out as Filipino.
No, like, one day, he, like, you know, when you wake up and then you, like, get your period and you're like, Mom, I got my period. Like, he ran to his mom, was like, Mom, I'm half Pinoy.
Maybe it's because he, like, figured out what, like, balut was, and he was like, am I Pacific Islander? They won't even say Filipino.
And when all he did, so he got like a Golden Globe for some fucking thing. I think was it for Versace? I don't know.
I mean, which again, he plays a half Filipino killer
who hates himself because he's half Asian. So why do you think his performance was so good?
I don't think that was his last good performance.
So all he did was thank his mother on stage, and how he described the feeling was, it felt as if I came out as half Filipino.
So brave.
I'm closer to my identity than I ever was before. To which I have only one thing to say. Putang ina mo. And I think we'll round it out with the fucking best example. My favorite, the queen herself, Madangi Arul Pragasam, otherwise known as MIA.
All I want to do is
and
take your money. I mean, she's just speaking straight facts there.
Yeah, I mean, the mixtape drops this Christmas.
She contains so much multitudes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you want to do some light reading after this, you just look at the Wikipedia page.
Her life is incredibly wild, and she has not watered any of that down for anyone. And she's made that extremely clear in all of her art. She
made a fucking documentary where it's just like secret recordings of like the very illegal stuff her family was doing. Her dad.
So some background. Her father was part of the EROS, which was basically the student, if I'm not wrong, was the student coalition that was kind of the precursor to the LTTE, and he was one of the founding members. So he was
basically the OG.
Yeah, he was very much part of the Tamil liberation movement. Yeah. And their family had to move around a lot and live in poverty without their father because they were constantly in hiding from the Sri Lankan army, and eventually they made it to the UK. And she went to Central St. Martin's, and
we must talk about how she got her spot at Central St. Martin's.
Yeah, she basically just showed up and called them constantly up until they were like, cool, if we let you in, will you stop, like, you know, getting on our nerves? And she's like, yeah, cool.
Keep girl boss.
Love you, MIA. And this is a very rare thing to find in any kind of mainstream media, is she puts her fucking money where her mouth is. She doesn't give a fuck. of what anyone else thinks or says, sometimes to a fault, but who gives a fuck?
And that's why she looks so good for her age.
Yeah. There's so much to be said about MIA, and I really don't think we can do it any justice. I suggest reading her Wikipedia page.
Yeah, but we also found out she married like the guy from the Lehman Brothers fortune.
Yeah, she did she did a Grimesification.
Before Grimesification was even a thing.
No, so Grimes actually did an MIA-ification, if you really think about it.
Why must we pit her against a white woman?
And I think that, this quote from MIA kind of really ties together everything that we've talked about today. And she says, the really left of center artists, you really wonder about them. Can the world catch up? Can the culture meet them in the middle? That's what the adventure is. It doesn't always happen, but it should. And it could.
And I don't think it's gonna ever do that. I mean, I think we should just stop looking to Western media for representation. Because at the end of the day, they are not interested in representing anyone. They just want to market and pander to the various markets.
Yeah, and if anything, we should be rallying for better representation of ourselves in our own media, because we know that doesn't often happen as well.
Like, yeah, go and watch it. Like, white people love Wong Kar-wai. Go watch that.
Watch Ilo Ilo lah. Watch fucking I Not Stupid, dude. Watch 15 by Royston Tan. Watch Me Pok Man. I mean, I'm only listing Singaporean movies here, but...
Go watch even, like, any Jack Neo movie.
Go watch The Maid, which I personally think is a great horror flick. But, I mean, in a nutshell, in conclusion...
Fuck Asian Americans. Asian diaspora, please get your shit together.
Like, do we know what we want? I don't think we have the answer to that question. But if you get anything from this about annoying Asians, just know that no one will really, truly be any more annoying as Asians than we ever will be.
Amen.
Love and light.
Peace and love.
And that wraps up another episode. Hopefully we're able to hold our own without having to capitalize on someone else's trauma.
Hopefully we don't lose half our listener base, which is...
We probably will. They probably were from Utah.
If you're so inclined
to follow us on Instagram, please DM us. That's 7YearBitchPod on Instagram.
We have 31 followers.
So, help us get to 69. Face reveal at 69. Thank you. Bye-bye.